Hey everyone, and welcome to Television for the Multiverse, the DC TV podcast from MailFuzz TV. I am Peter, and joining me as always is Connor.
Yes, it is. You hesitated there for a second. I don't know why.
Maybe I just hesitate when you're involved.
I mean, you could do that, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. But anyway, we talk about DC TV shows on this show, and coming up in this week's show, we have a new episode of Doom Patrol, a new episode of Supergirl, of Arrow, of Legends of Tomorrow, and finally The Flash. So, full slate of 5 shows this week, and that's what we're going to talk about. So, here we are. Here we are indeed.
Yeah. I remember 3 of them.
Connor may have been drunk for 2 of them.
The extent of my memories is looking at the messages I sent you the day while I was drunk during them and going, well, I guess that happened, but yeah.
I mean, eligible those messages were not. I just want to point that out for everyone.
I deciphered them all.
Deciphered them. Messages should not need to be deciphered.
Tell that to the Egyptians.
That was their language. Kind of.
See? You're murking it up already.
That's how they wrote things down. They all understood that.
No, well, you had to decipher it.
Well, the educated ones did anyway. I don't know if it was... everyone read and write it necessarily. It was a harsh time.
Not.
It was a harsh time in the world. Anyway, so we actually don't have any news this week. Normally we start off with a bit of DC news. DC TV news, that is, specifically. But nothing this week. So because of that, we are going to talk about Doom Patrol to kick off with. So Doom Patrol Season 1, Episode 11. It's called Francis Patrol. So obviously full spoilers for each episode as we talk about them. This episode is kind of a low-key episode where it gives it splits the episode into about 3 plots, and each one's kind of more or less devoted to 1 or 2 characters. They all kind of some of them are paired, but it's still very much about one character more than the other. And, mainly I'm thinking Cliff there, because Rita ends up going with him because the stepfather, his old friend who took in his daughter, passes away, and he goes down to was it Florida? I want to say
it was Florida. Yeah. I'm thinking of the alligators.
Yes. Also, the TV news that's mentioned Florida Man. Also mentioned Mineral Man and whatnot.
Yeah.
So some. This is a small detail which I realize doesn't feel like a big deal, but I really liked it when that news was playing. The TV, I think, was maybe a Samsung TV, something like that. It may not have been, regardless. And then either the cable box or the DVD player, whatever it was underneath it, was Philips. And I just want to point out how much I like that those were 2 different brands, regardless of what they were. I may be misremembering which one was which.
Oh, I'm with you. Rather than just the product placement of, hey, can we borrow these and we'll show them.
Yeah, because normally when this happens, it'll be every single item in the room is Sony, or every single item in the room is Philips.
Because they just go to the company and go, hey, can we just borrow this? And it'll be all your stuff there.
But truth be told, most people have a mishmash of brands because they just buy the thing that's best or was on sale or whatever.
It's true. Like looking right in front, I have 2 screens in front of me that are very different brands.
I have one screen that's Acer and I have one screen that's Samsung.
I have an Acer and a Bush.
A Bush.
A Bush.
Carter's got a Bush. Let it be known. So it's one of those little things. They stuck out to me because I never see it, and it's actually far more realistic.
Has brand loyalty?
People who buy iPhones.
Yeah, you're right. Those people are the worst.
So yeah, they go to Florida, and he sees his daughter, who's in her early 30s now, because obviously it's been 30 years since he died, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And he's too nervous to talk to her. Rita's been chatted up by this guy who's really into hunting.
But she's all into it because chicken.
Well, he offers her a plate of chicken.
A bucket of chicken.
Yeah, there wasn't a bucket of chicken. He didn't say a bucket of chicken.
It did. It was a bucket of chicken.
I don't recall the word bucket.
I'm pretty sure it was definitely not a plate. It was bigger than a plate. That's why it's stuck in my head. And then it came out and it was a basket of chicken.
Basket's not... Basket in a bar setting, a basket is equal to a plate.
No, it's not. Basket is always bigger than a plate.
Oh, come on. A bowl of chips, a basket of chips. You expect
basket is bigger. Basket of chips is bigger than a bowl of chips.
Okay, it's for two. It's for sharing. So it's a twofer, right? But it's not a bucket of chicken. A bucket of chicken's for a family of 5.
Sure, but he is surprised by the amount of chicken she eats, implying that there was a lot of chicken there.
I assumed he ordered more. I assumed that she was requesting more, and he thinks he's got a shot with Rita. And she's, of course, not even interested. She's just being nice and eating free chicken. But, as you do.
Yeah.
But basically, the plot line here is that Cliff is really nervous about talking to his daughter, and it kind of stems from, like, at first he hates, the guy, I can't remember his name. The
it
stepdad.
Begins with a B. Like, I want to...
Is it Buck?
No, I don't know. It's something like that. Buck, Bud. It's something along those lines, and it's killing me.
It's not Big D, because Big D's the guy chatting up Rita.
Big D's the guy chatting her up, yeah. You have to go back to one of the earlier episodes to find him, though, wouldn't you?
What do you think D stands for?
I thought she was going to ask. I really did.
But anyway, so it starts off him hating him, and he's like, no, I'm the real father. This asshole, he took her in and pretended to be, stole my daughter, stole my wife, blah blah blah. And then it flips though after he hears his daughter make a speech, an eulogy essentially. Which, by the way, who's making her work on her father's funeral? Like,
yeah, that is a dick move, isn't it?
Yeah, whoever owns this place is a shithead. But she's working, and she stands up and makes this speech, and then he's like, shit. To her, he's this hero. He's this hero who took in an orphan. Like, I can't compete with that. I've been dead for 30 years.
Bump is his name.
Bump?
Bump.
What's her name is Bump?
It's a shit name, but that's his name. I found it. Bump.
So he tries to go to the swamp to retrieve a watch that she had engraved for her stepfather.
It was like the only thing that she got from her parents that was worth anything. This solid gold watch, and she wanted to give it to him because he'd been pretty good.
Yeah. So we have Robot Man in the swamp, eventually fighting an alligator, but. It's quite sweet. It's quite emotional. He kind of breaks down, screams into the air. Every time he's nervous, it's kind of sweet.
Honestly, this episode is like this is low key. It's the first episode where I went, oh shit, I actually care about the characters now, beyond them just being like funny.
Yeah, I think I was already there, to be honest. I think I was there with Larry's song and dance. To be honest.
Oh yeah, okay, that one was good. But for the rest of them, it's when he's just stood in the bar listening to the eulogy, and then he's gone at the end, and he's outside. I'm like, oh, okay, this is working for him. This is really working.
Yeah, or the moment where he helps her up onto the podium, and
and he gets the little flash of her.
Yeah, a little flashback of holding his daughter's hand. So no, it's low key, and we're gearing in. This is episode 11, and we got 4 left. Is gearing up for what I imagine the sort of the final run of episodes this year, the end game of the season, and it makes sense to have a low key episode, but that's not a complaint because I think each of the plots offer something, even if it's not the most exciting episode or ridiculous episode in a plot sense. It's not donkey's ass. It's not.
No, the plots themselves are relatively straightforward.
Yeah, it's not Danny the Street.
Even if, by this show standard, fighting an alligator in the swamp is straightforward.
Yeah. To be fair, the alligator jumps at him. You don't see the fight.
You don't.
Which is notable because in this show, we see a lot of weird things. Oh, by the way, start on the previously on with the scene of the beard hunter eating the beard again.
Dick move. Yeah.
I was upset. That was a dick move.
Yeah, it was.
Cyborg gets freaked out this episode because he finds out that his insides are becoming more cybernetic.
Yeah, that's pretty terrifying, to be fair.
Yeah, he cuts into his arm and has a look, and at first he's relieved, and then he pushes the flesh aside, and he's like, "Oh shit, there's like metal in there." Crap. Oh dear.
I assume we're changing his origin story to some degree here. I think that's what we're going to be getting in the next couple episodes, because the concept of the cybernetics actually growing and expanding on their own, that's kind of new, right?
If they tie it into like a mother box or a father box, though, it would still work for me to tie it with that. because the idea that the box is not sentient per
alive.
se, but
Yeah.
yeah, like that would work for me, because up until now we've had no indication that he actually has any of that inside him, right? Like
None whatsoever. No.
yeah.
We've actually got very little of his origin, which is why I'm kind of expecting an episode on it.
Well, the next one's called Cyborg Patrol, so I think.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah,
well, it's probably that one then.
I've got a good feeling you're going to get your Cyborg episode.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but he actually gets kidnapped because Jane's like now finally like she's calling team meetings. She wants to go find the chief. She wants to find Flex Metallo, who she's like, we're looking for Flex Metallo, and Rita's like, oh yeah, how did you know that? The cereal says Metallo's on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that. But she makes him go try and meet the wife of Flex, and
goes badly.
It goes badly, yeah, because the Bureau of Normalcy, of what were they called? Was it the Bureau of Normalcy, or was it the Department of Normalcy? I can't remember.
I don't know. I feel like there should be a bureau. Bureau sounds better than department.
Yeah, but they kidnap because they kind of stage like a sort of domestic dispute, shall we say? That's kind of aggressive.
Yeah.
And Jane goes in,
steps out to help
deal with it. Cyborg gets kidnapped with
because he's a chump.
It was a chump, yeah. Well, they try to do the same to Jane, but she,
she's having none of it.
Yeah, she beats the shit out of the guy. She switches to whatever personality has the strong punch.
Yeah.
So and we end the episode with Cyborg detained, and not too dissimilar setting that we saw Larry in the flashbacks detained in, with behind the mirror and whatnot. So. Yeah, so that's obviously the main plot thing setting up next episode is the Cyborg stuff. Interesting though that Jane brings up the Doom Patrol a couple of times this episode.
Yeah, and implies that they're going to be the Doom Patrol. Like she's quite overt with it.
Yeah, and Cliff's like, we're not the Doom Patrol. We're not that. Don't you even start. It's like, we will be if we don't find the chief. And then later on she's like in a more sort of, because she actually has a really good speech with Cyborg, I thought, where he sort of kind of opens up about what's happening to him. There's not so much about his body changing, but about Grid being in control and how he had to shut it down because he felt uncomfortable. And she's like, dude, what, there's something inside you that you can't control, and it feels like it's like fighting for access. Yeah, that's me every day, and I can't just turn it off. So
yeah.
So I thought it was an interesting speech. I mean, she also brings up she keeps thinking about the Doom Patrol, in the hospital. So again, we've been saying this for a while, but it's definitely bumping along to the point where they take that name and kind of make it their own in a sort of.
That'll be a last episode thing, won't it?
You'd expect it. Maybe the end of the second last a push, but
a push, yeah. But at this stage of the show, it's late season. That it's an end game thing now.
Yeah. So that happens, and then Larry, we actually get the moment where because we had the end of the episode where Jane and Cliff come out of her head, and then we okay, there's another side of this. So then we got that last week with the Beard Hunter, and then this week
we open this with Larry's side of it.
Yeah, Larry waking up, because he's been getting more of his fantasy.
Because he was unconscious because the negative spirit was out of him.
Exactly. And he's having this fantasy with John in this motel, and it was like, this never really happened, and John's kind of aware of that, and it's kind of like murky in this line of like, what exactly is he?
How much is this a memory, and how much is it wish fulfillment?
Well, not even just that, but like just John specifically is aware of it, says this never happened, which leads to a lot of questions. Exactly what is John? Is John the entity, like being personified? Is John more like a conscious memory? And then of course we find out later in the episode that it is actually John in some way. Like John's like dreaming at the same time and being a part of his fantasies, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, it's unusual, but I mean,
it lends a lot more weight to all these scenes. He's really there in some capacity, because eventually Larry wakes up and the spirits left him this hint to go and find him, and he goes and he's done, because there's a line in the bar fantasy where they have the fight where he says something like, I don't have much time left, and that was kind of the hint where it's like, oh wait, is the real him dying? Like, because obviously he'd be old now. And Larry goes to see him, and it's kind of this sweet, because there's a really sweet scene where he picks him up and takes him outside to the porch, because he's still
watch the sun.
Yeah, and he's still strong enough to pick him up in that, and it's like a really sweet scene of him like carrying him, and I'm like, this is odd but oddly touching at the same time.
Yeah, and it's one of these where you know exactly where this is going. You know this scene the whole time is going to end with the death while they're out there, but it still works.
Yeah, I don't think it actually necessarily was his death at the end, though.
Oh, I do.
I think you could totally read that as him just falling asleep.
No way. That's absolutely not. That scene is textbook. Oh, they died during the nice moment. You know, the final wish got fulfilled. Of okay, they met up again one last time.
Yeah, so Larry has this goodbye, and there's some nice beats in there, because he actually opens up and talks to him about the negative spirit to an extent. He doesn't get too like in his face with exactly the details per se.
Yeah.
Too much to swallow. But it's kind of the first time he's really just sat down and opened up about it and talked about how he feels about it. Because he's never sat down with any other members of the team and talked to them in this way.
Oh God, no.
So this is like finally a chance to just open up and be himself, essentially. But no, that was closure. That's what it was.
It was definitely, yeah.
So I mean, that was the episode. It was it was the three strands.
Quite straightforward, actually, wasn't it?
Yeah, for an episode of Doom Patrol, it was pretty straightforward.
All of them got like a little character thing. For Jane calling the meetings, Larry obviously got his big thing. Cliff got his big stuff. Cyborg is dealing with his stuff, although he got the least because obviously his is coming up next. Rita got accepting her old identity, trying to figure out who she is. Before the persona of Rita Farr. I think eventually she'll end up realizing a lot of the persona is actually who she is now. The idea that over time that has actually in some ways become who she is. That idea that it is her. But yeah, she's going back. Was it Gertrude?
Yeah, Gary.
Yeah. So that's her thing for the episode, which is obviously smaller than Cliff or Larry, but it's played well.
Yeah, that was a solid episode. If not the most flashy, but solid. So that'll take us on to Supergirl Season 4, Episode 19. It's called American Dreamer. No guesses, or no points for guessing who the focus is in this episode, even though it balances a lot of characters, to be honest, but Dreamer does get her fair share of the time here.
She does, yeah.
And it's probably some of the best stuff in the episode, actually. That's her stuff.
Yeah, I agree. She has obviously a big speech at the end.
Big speech. Her entrance at the start was pretty good. The bar fight stuff was quite good. If the setup was a little bit weird, admittedly, but the actual fight itself.
I'm digging the dream whip.
The dream whip, the electric dream whip, and American Women started playing. There was a fun bit. Yeah. And the speech was good. Notably, I actually noted this down because I wanted to remember this. Both Supergirl and Flash both made Sex and the City references this week. Very similar Sex and the City references as well. Because at one point during her speech,
she says, "I'm a whichever one."
I think it was Miranda, and the joke in Flash was that Ralph said, "I'm such a Samantha," I think, and she went, and then Iris says, "No, yeah, sure, Miranda." And the funny thing is I have never seen the show. I have no idea what these names mean. I know they're Sex and the City characters. I don't know.
And I get that they're archetypes.
Yeah, but I don't know what the archetypes are.
Yeah, so I don't know which one Ralph actually is.
I don't know what it means to be a Miranda or a Samantha, or the other two.
I feel like Samantha's the only one I ever hear people go, "Oh, you're such a Samantha." I don't think I've ever heard any others, really. I couldn't name any of the others before you've just mentioned Miranda.
Because Carrie's the main one, right? She's Jessica Parker. That's Carrie. I'm sure she's Carrie. I mean, that leaves the fourth one. I have no idea who the fourth character is. But Carrie, Miranda, Samantha. I think those are three of the four.
Samantha. I like how you were gonna just say Sam and then decided no, you're gonna do the whole thing, but you decided way too late.
Anyway, so it was just weird to me to do both because she says, "Oh, I'm a Miranda, I'm a Gryffindor." I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. lame Harry Potter
I'm not sure she's
reference.
Gryffindor.
Why would you Hufflepuff?
She could be, yeah.
Ravenclaw, maybe?
She is very thorough with things. She could be a Ravenclaw. I wasn't getting Gryffindor. Wouldn't have been my first guess. It would have been a Ravenclaw or a Hufflepuff.
This is meaningless. People pick what they want because they like one more than the others. End of discussion.
You could have just said that about Sex and the City. Clearly, that's not the point.
Iris makes that joke, but this has no bearing on Nia and her speech.
No, but the point is, it's based on your character traits.
To
a degree.
You're such a Jason Todd, you know that.
How dare you? How dare you?
I'm just speaking truth. That's all I'm doing. So, yeah, that speech is good. It's Kara wanting her to do it because she wants to, do a piece that helps everyone because she's not Supergirl right now. She does do a couple of little, sly superheroic moments. Catching the purse snatcher with the sorry I bumped into you. Oh, that's a shame.
Stuck her elbow up. Yeah.
Actually, the one that made me laugh is when the alien dude in the office. I don't know what his name is.
Franklin.
That sounds right. Because Lockwood's going around with like a troop, basically like this is very Gestapo what's going on right now. He's going around, taking aliens who have like in any way broken the law and like locking them up, and he comes for Nia because of the speech. It's been broadcast on TV, and during the chaos while the soldiers running around, Franklin like backs away from one and does some like moves, and it's almost a joking thing, but he's just kind of like pretend that he knows what he's doing, and Kara knocks the guy out behind him and then goes, Franklin, you saved me, and it just really made me laugh. Yeah. He's like, I did? Oh yes. Yeah.
No, I mostly quite like this episode. I have one big problem.
Everything involving James.
Okay, two big problems. Okay. That's the huge problem.
That's
and then
problem.
I've got a less. See, now it's not going to feel like a big problem.
Okay, what's the other problem?
You've deflated it. It's Kara. Like the whole thing when she's like, Nia, it's got to be you. We're going to humanize all the aliens, and we're going to do it with you. And I need you to just come out on TV and be yourself. This felt really weird to me that she was like, I'm going to risk your life, but it never once crossed her mind that she could go on as Supergirl and then go, no, this is who I am, Kara. And, that never came up. It felt a little bit selfish for her to push it onto Nia, who was obviously immediately going to get targeted.
I don't think it's out of selfishness. I think it's out of logic because of the way the public sees Supergirl right now. Because she's a wanted terrorist right now.
She is, and that was my point. Is would that not be a way to not necessarily clear a name with facts, but more the core public opinion, which is what matters here and now for a lot of this. That's the whole point. Is to go no, I'm a person just like you, and all that stuff. That felt like to me it should have at least been considered and then maybe disregarded for like you said, but. The fact that it was immediately hey Nia, you put yourself in the spotlight.
No, wait. One of the points was that she was half human. Kara's not half human.
No.
Because that was one of the things she said to her when she was
picturing this. That came up later, but sure.
It was that you're both human and alien, so...
Yeah.
That was the point. There you go. I've solved it.
Fine, but it felt weird to me that it got quite far before that came up.
That was in the main speech that she gave her?
No, it was in the main speech. I'm talking about in the pre-speech stuff.
No, that's what I mean. The pre-speech, like when she pitches all the interview, she says it in that pitch.
Oh, does she? I don't know. Okay, fair enough. But in general, to me, it felt relatively selfish to be pushing Nia into the danger without at least considering herself first.
I don't know what to tell you, but she inspires Franklin's sister, who's got access to files.
I want to say Edna.
Sure, I wasn't going to try, but sure. But she's too scared to at first, but then she gets inspired because of the speech that Nia gives on TV, and is willing to play ball. And that's basically it. And there's a small thing with Brainy as well, where Brainy's like scared to kind of go out because he's worried about getting captured himself, but then he's also inspired, so they have this sort of team up moment. I'm in Nia, so all that stuff was fairly solid. The less than solid stuff was the James stuff, where to fix his superpowered problems, Brainy's essentially doing some of his mind melding nonsense, and James is looking at his like his dark past, trauma. His trauma, and trying to figure out what it is. And it turns out it's about his father's funeral, and he never went, and like his sister kind of hates him for it.
Coffin.
Well, no, that's the thing. That's what it turns out to be at the end. But he his sister's pissed at him for not being at the funeral, and then what he says to Brainy in front of everyone is that he was locked in, was it the bathroom in the place across the street,
in the diner,
in the diner, and his sister thinks this is a lie, and it is a lie, which is is definitely a lie. But it turns out what actually happened was there's a couple of bullies locked him in a coffin, knowing full well it was the day of his father's funeral, because they know that's why he's dressed that way. So they're particularly cruel, these kids. And this is something that he's repressed, and by unlocking it, he's whatever. My problem with this plot, outside of the fact that I think conceptually it's really tedious, is I actually think some of the acting in this was really bad.
I agree.
When he's in his head and he's like talking about like his father and crying when he looks at himself getting put in the coffin, like all of that I just thought was really rough.
Do you want to know the moment that disappointed me most about this as well? Is when he's finally got to confront it, and I think it's either Brainy or his sister. I can't remember who it is at this point. It's like, you've got to fight them. You got to fight through them. And he walks up to the kids, who are above the coffin. I thought, is he going to punch them? Am I going to watch James punch these kids?
I got excited
and then he just waves his hands and they just vanish. I'm like, oh, that was disappointing.
I get excited about that as well, and then he just waves his hands and that's it. And I'm like, no,
that's not fighting them.
I wanted to see him punch a 14-year-old.
Me too. That would have been really satisfying.
That would have been way more fun than what we got. I think one of the problems is that all the drama with him and his sister up until this point has been nothing but dialogue. It's been nothing but, here's things that happened in our past that we're going to tell you about, and then we're going to be mad at each other for it, and we're going to tell someone else. And so much of this plot, because I go back to the hospital episode where we first met her, so much of this plot has been developed by her telling Alex everything. That is how we have learned about all of their backstory, is her telling Alex about it. And it just makes it so uninteresting. It's just exposition dumps. I have no reason to actually care about their relationship, and like I say, the acting is also kind of letting it down. So it's a really rough plot. I'm really not feeling it.
Half of the episode is spent on this plot.
Yeah, it's a good third to a half of it's spent on it.
It's quite a lot. It's a meaty chunk.
Yeah. And then the only other things we got really is Lena's mad at Kara at first, but she's really just kind of frustrated because she's trying to solve the James problem. Then it turns out James is now okay, and he also has Superman powers, so
yeah,
I guess that's going to be a thing.
The one thing that I can say about this is either he loses them, or we're writing him off the show by the end of the season. Because you don't have we can't have two people with those powers just running around on the show.
Absolutely.
It happened, the Flash tried it and they couldn't do it.
No, absolutely. So I think, he may be gone for next season.
My hopes are on that he's gone, and that's what we're going for here.
Yeah, his plot with his sister's been so frustrating and just kind of dull. James has had a lot.
Just summed up everything with James for the last 3 years.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. James's plots for most of season 2, 3, and 4 have been very rough, and there's been little bright spots where it feels like it might get better, and then it just kind of devolves into
frustrating and / or dull. Does sum up 95% of James' plots.
Yes, but hey. Key point though for going forward is that after Lena patches up with Kara and apologizes for being a bit of a moody cow, they solve Lexi's something or other. So he's got like a.
He's left a riddle.
It's kind of a riddle, and Lena's like, "Oh, it's his favorite, cipher," And I'm like, oh, you should have thought of that already then, shouldn't you? If it was his favourite
You
cipher.
dumb bitch.
But it turns out he bought a it's
missile base in Kaznia, which is
it's where Thingy's been kept. Yeah,
it's Comrade Kara.
Comrade Zor-El is being kept, so they're going to Kaznia. So presumably, this is where Supergirl might finally meet Russian Supergirl, and we can have the face off.
Yeah.
Which is fine. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's funny because I'm not so sure. Like I'm in this weird middle place with how they've like held back with Comrade Zor-El, like, and how like little we saw of her.
Like, because we've been teasing literally since the end of last season, we've been teasing this. It feels like okay, we'll get there, and then is it going to live up to that now?
Well, no, this is the thing. I'm off two minds. On the one hand, like, have they not shown her enough, and it feels kind of weird, or is it actually a really wonderful example of restraint that they just set it up and they let it sit there whilst all the other plots played out, and it was like, no, it's going to be important later, but it's not important yet, so it can be sat on. Like, I almost want to respect it. It kind of depends if it pays off or not. It really just kind of depends, like,
is it worth it or not? Yeah.
Because so far right now she's been used. You know, we had that episode that followed her, and that was mostly pretty effective. And then she was used to kind of frame Supergirl, also fairly effective. I
think honestly, the problem of pairing her with Lex makes it almost certainly not worth it for me. In the context of, okay, you're teasing this and setting it up, I expect this to be something in its own right. And the fact that she's kind of just playing into Lex's plot is a little disappointing in that regard.
I don't think I agree with that. I think that's a weird, like, I don't know, like, no, like it makes sense. I mean, hell, it calls back to the comics that Lex is dealing with a Supergirl clone, like, for a start.
No, I know.
What? So you're telling me that because it was like teased as just her on her own, and now it's like tied with the Lex Luthor plot, when at the time we didn't even know Lex Luthor was going to be on the show?
No. I think for me though, it's a big enough concept and threat that I would like to see it being given its own spotlight rather than being alongside Lex.
Oh, but that's a different complaint. No, that's not what you said there. You said it was teased as its own thing, and you're disappointed that it's tied to Lex. And
yeah.
To me, I don't think there's anything wrong with something being teased and then finding out later that it's also connected to something else. If anything, because I think if this was in a vacuum and it was its own thing and didn't show up until this late into the season, it'd feel really weird. The idea that there's been another character kind of involved with her this whole time gives it some kind of build-up in some capacity.
Fair enough. It's obviously just me that is bugged by this a little bit, but whatever.
This is one of your weird things. Sometimes you just have these weird rules and caveats that make you dislike things.
I can't help it.
I know, but it's weird. You're really weird. Yeah. As for the episode overall, I think it was a relatively solid episode, with the notable exception of the James and sister plot. Kelly, that's her name. Kelly Olsen. Took me some time.
Yeah. I got Franklin and Edna. I would never have got Kelly.
There was a scene at the end. We need to talk about Jean.
Yeah, that was a weird scene.
Do you know, it was a weird scene. I thought the effects on the sand head for his father was a bit weird. However, I did really like the music that played as he was like walking through Mars, and
I liked the scene in a vacuum. Just sticking it at the end of this episode because we need John back for the next one feels weird.
Would you rather be at the start of the next episode?
Yeah, I would, yeah. I think it would have a lot more relevance at the start of the next episode. And then, okay, now he's back, he's coming in, rather than this tease at the end of the last one, which isn't really a tease because, okay, we knew he was going to Mars and he was going to come back anyway.
Yeah. I don't feel that strongly about it, but I can't really argue with that either.
I think just thematically, it felt tacked on at the end of this. Just, yeah, okay, well, this'll do. Rather than, I think thematically, if his return is his next episode, having it there would have made more sense to me.
Well, that'll take us on then to Arrow Season 7, Episode 20. It's worth mentioning that, Arrow and Flash are an episode ahead of Supergirl right now. So, I guess that's just finishing a week later.
Yeah, my liver will be happy for a week.
Or, actually, I guess it's not. I guess it's because they're still counting in the episode that airs on Sunday. So episode 20 of Supergirl technically is still airing the same week as 20 of the other two shows.
So to CW, Sunday is the end of the week.
Yeah, but to us, Sunday's, for our schedule's the start of the week, so I guess that's why. But anyway, so Confessions. This is an episode of Arrow.
I thought you were about to say Confession. I didn't watch it.
No, it's called Confessions.
I was like, please say you watched it, because I don't remember any of it.
No, it's an episode where there's been a couple of security guards have been murdered at this scene, and
yes,
it's a police interrogation episode where they interrogate each member of Team Arrow one by one, and each one kind of builds into the story of what happened. So it keeps flashing back. So the bulk of the episode is actually the flashback in this case, but the flashback is not like an old flash. It's it's like
it's a relevant flashback.
Yeah, it's just like this is what happened tonight.
Make it good, but it has a purpose in this episode. Structurally, it makes sense.
Yeah, it's a classic structural technique. This episode. And it's like, so who murdered these guards? And we have to get to the bottom of it. And it's actually Dinah who's like interrogating them all, if I just say that properly. What's interesting, actually, at the end it's revealed that Dinah's in the whole thing. And I'm glad they revealed that, because like after the second interview, I was like, man, Dinah's going really hard on these guys, as if like this feels like just weird and forced. And it's like, oh no, it's just an actual, the other cops think she's, really giving
doing
it
the
to
job.
them.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And out of nowhere, Roy's back in present day.
Yes, and he's not alone.
He's the linchpin. He's the linchpin of this mission, because everyone knows what the rest of Team Arrow look like, so he goes in, his arsenal to do his thing. And it becomes this thing where each story reveals another part of like who might have killed the guards. But the ending, of course, is that Dinah is with the rest of them, helping cover up the fact that Roy did it, because Roy loses his shit. And as Oliver puts it, I've not seen bloodlust like that since Thea got resurrected from a Lazarus pit. Bloodlust!
Oh, we got a bloodlust, and oh, down went the drink. I almost on instinct just reached for it then when you said it. I don't even have one ready. I was just like, I just on instinct went, oh, the glass should be there, and it's not. But oh, it's been a while. It's been a while, hasn't it?
It's been a while since we had a good bloodlust. It almost made me nostalgic hearing the word
My
bloodlust.
old nemesis.
And I hated the show when it was doing the bloodlust stuff.
At least it was funny bad, though. Like, more consistently.
More consistently, sure. I mean, as far as episodes of Arrow go, it's
terrible. I think I said to you, it thinks it's a Fincher movie. Even more so than with the color palette being even more darker and green than usual.
Yeah, because the flashbacks have a filter on them. Yeah.
Yeah. The way it was cut in and the narration and the interrogation.
Yeah, it's not the worst episode of Arrow though. It's like if anything, this one's at least like quicker to get through, because there's this clear structural thing that it's doing where you can almost like feel it build to the end. Whereas some episodes of Arrow, I feel like are just waffling around.
That's true.
Plot to plot. This is one of the most focused episodes of Arrow of all time. The weird part is that the appearance of Roy and then dealing with the idea that he has bloodlust now because he died and was brought back to life is so out of nowhere. And if you're going to tell me that
he is just off being happy,
but I'll get to some Thea stuff in a minute. But I mean, you can tell me that sure, in the future, the reason why he was on the island away from everyone else is because of bloodlust. That's why he secluded himself. So what they're doing here is they're explaining why Roy ends up there the way he does and why he's alone. Okay, but in terms of like the inclusion in the present day plot, it just feels so out of nowhere that Roy's back. And I think my problem is that they introduce him in the same episode that they do the reveal. See, if they introduced him like 3 episodes ago and then did the reveal this episode that he's got bloodlust problems, fine.
And see, here's the thing. I think you have to have the reveal this episode for this plot to work, as to for it to unfold, and for it to be like, oh shit, Roy's involved, right? Because that's a thing that even we don't know as these interrogations are being conducted. So I think it has to happen in this episode for that. I think the problem is you need to have this episode work in a way that doesn't reveal the bloodlust. You can't have both, but I think that the Roy being revealed does work here.
Well, sure.
Theory.
I'm not saying you have to do this episode though. I'm not saying.
Okay.
Like, I'm just saying that on the only two things I'm talking about is reintroducing Roy into the main present day storyline and revealing the bloodlust and that he died. Those two things should have been spread out, and we should have used to him being back before they revealed that all this stuff had went on. But the main scene I really want to talk about is when we first see him back in the bunker with everyone else before the mission. And he's like, "Hey, Oliver. Hey." He's like, "Oh, how's Thea doing?" And he's like, "Oh, she's really found her passion. You'd be really proud of her." I immediately noted down. Where's my notepad?
Oh, you made notes during Arrow. Christ, you can tell we were watching it together this week.
I noted down. I just wrote down the word. I wrote down "found her passion" because I wanted to remember that line. Because I immediately said to myself, I said out loud, "What the fuck is her passion?" He doesn't say. He doesn't say
I
what.
thought I was shooting people with arrows.
He doesn't say what her passion is. He just says she found her passion. You'd be really proud of her. What does that mean? What is her passion? What is she doing? What is her job? What is she doing in society? We have no idea. It's such that's just sums up everything that Thea was for the last couple of years she was on the show, where the writers didn't know what to do with her. She was just kind of there in the background. This is just a further example of that, where they want to tell us that she's got this happy ending, but they don't even know what it is. They can't tell us what it is because they've not thought of it. It's just a vague, "Oh, she's happy. Forget about her." And then what made me laugh even more after this is Roy's like, "Hey, why didn't you ask her to come instead of me?" He's like, "Well, this other Green Arrow's been running around who's the bad guy.
Maybe a bit of a sister situation."
Yeah, she's kind of my sister. And Roy quite rightly is like, "Wouldn't Thea want to know about that?" It's like, "Well, yeah, but we don't want to complicate
she's kind
things."
Of evil, and
So we thought we'd apprehend her before I brought Thea in on to hear about this. So that
always ends well, doesn't it?
It was so funny to me because it was like we always used to joke about them having to explain why Thea wasn't on episodes because she was missing for like tons of episodes, like her final season, which I assume was last year. I can't remember how long ago that was. So that was really weird to me. But the fact that Roy comes back and we immediately have to do that again. This is why Thea's not here.
Yeah.
And add on to that, she's found her passion. You'd be really proud of her. She's really happy.
And then the fact that Roy literally stole Thea's one character point for the last 3 years, Bloodlust.
But yeah, like, what is her passion? Tell me in the comments if anyone has any idea what her goddamn passion is. I'd love to hear it. Is she running another bar?
She's modeling on Instagram.
Is she? What was she doing before she left? Was she working in a mayor's office somewhere doing PR or some shit? I don't know what she was doing.
I doubt that was a passion.
Oh, she seemed really into it at the time. But what? It is such a you're going to tell me she's found her passion. Passion, the word that means that you are wrapped up in it, that you care about it, that is something you think about day and night, that it's something you devote yourself to, and you can't even vaguely say what it is.
I suspect you may be thinking too hard about this because the writers didn't think this hard.
I can tell. All you have them say is she's doing great, you'd be proud of her. But no, she's found her passion, which implies that she has discovered something that she is committed to that we had not previously understood. So just tell us, is she painting? Is she is she into landscaping?
Because the last time we saw her, right, was she drove off into the sunset with Roy and
Nyssa,
thank you, to go destroy some Lazarus pits. Maybe destroying pits is a passion. That's the implication. We don't need to be told because it's just the last thing she was doing.
Doesn't sound very sustainable.
It does not.
That's that line. That line.
You got that off your chest now.
Pissed me off.
You feel like you've been holding on to that for a couple of days now, and
so
it's been weighing on you.
Yeah, they track, Emiko, and she reveals that she knew about the bombs in the ship. And then she tries to blow up Oliver.
She tries to blow up Oliver.
Yeah, the episode ends with him like, under rubble.
Does it?
Yeah, the last thing you see is him under a big, bit of floor, and Felicity's like, Oliver, come in, and then it cuts to...
Okay, I was drunker than I thought. Because I remember her going, I knew all our plans and I did nothing. I remember that. And I don't remember this next bit that you're telling me about.
She pulls out a detonator and says, goodbye, brother. And
Really?
that's cementing that she's evil. Because there's a scene in the middle during the flashback stuff where Renee tries to talk to her, and he's like, hey, you're not this, you killed Dante, you killed the leader of the Ninth Circle. It's like, he's not the leader of the Ninth Circle, I am the leader of the Ninth Circle. It was me, Austin, it was me all along.
Right?
I
remember that bit.
Right, and he gets upset about that. But, yeah, so unequivocally by the end of this episode, they all know that she is evil as shit. Like, this is not a, we can win her back over. And I feel like Diggle should be like stepping in here, say, hey, I shot my brother. Oh, teary eyes, because he was evil and couldn't be redeemed. I tried really hard, but he was awful, and it just had to happen. So,
yeah, Oliver didn't stop me then, did you? I honestly don't remember the ending of this episode at all. I must have been way drunker than I thought.
Oh, it was a... Oh, dear. I don't even know. Anyway, anything else you want to say about Arrow before we move on? Because I'm out.
Let me check my notes.
You had notes?
I had drunken ramblings to you. Those are the extent of my notes.
There was something about
Bloodlust.
Bloodlust.
Yes, before the Bloodlust. It says here, shooting the timer doesn't stop a bomb.
I remember that happening.
Whenever there's a timer going off, it's during the it's during one of the flashbacks. I think it's the time where we actually see Dinah's there. She pops out behind Oliver.
Mm-hmm.
There's a timer going off to, I assume, a bomb or something. It was clearly counting down to trigger a detonation or something, right? And he shoots the screen with the timer on it, not the main device, just the screen sticking out the side, and that apparently stops it. Like that diffuses the device. What? That's not how diffusing bombs works. You can't just go, well, I'll just rip off the timer, problem solved. It's still counting down.
So it works in Arrow.
Bullshit, I tell you.
That's how it works in Arrow. What do you want?
I want them to sort this shite out.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on to Legends of Tomorrow, season 4, episode 13. It's called Egg MacGuffin. So a MacGuffin, if you don't know what that is basically the object, device. Sometimes it can even be a person in the plot where the plot's revolving around it. So in Transformers, it's the Allspark. In Avengers, it's the Cosmic Cube, the Tesseract. And those are both cubes, funnily enough, the ones I thought of. And Raiders of the Lost Ark, it's the Ark of the Covenant. It's the thing the plot revolves around that everyone's trying to get to.
Ultimately, doesn't really matter that much. It's just the objective.
Yes. So the MacGuffin in this episode is an egg, hence the title, Egg MacGuffin, which is a play on the phrase Egg McMuffin. So
yes, I appreciate that they're just being blatant enough, going, yeah, it's a MacGuffin. We're happy with that.
Yeah, but it's not even like it even is in the plot. They're even talking about it in a meta way because Nate even like, hey, this is basically Indiana Jones. Like Sarah set this up because Zari and Nate get sent on this mission together, which is very intentional to set them up to chase down this golden egg. And they encounter Nazis. Sarah gave them identities, which They
haven't encountered the Nazis yet. The Nazis come later.
Yeah, they come later, but that's just part of the journey. Like they do.
Yeah.
They have the names. They have everything else.
Backstories with the names.
She even left them clothes. Zari's in this fancy dress, and they're all having all these quiet moments. I did greatly enjoy the scene early on when they're bringing in the mummy, and Zari and Nate are just having the most awkward small talk.
Yeah. It's delightful.
Yeah, and Sarah and Ava make a bet on them hooking up.
Ava, why the hell did you take that bet?
I know, that was foolish. Ava.
Ava, you're proving to be socially inept.
She's a robot. She has no childhood. Of course she's socially inept. So, a clone. Sorry, not a robot, a clone. That's what I meant. You know what I mean?
a big difference.
Same difference. So yeah, do you know what's actually funny about and I feel like it's been doing this more recently, where it'll be split into like 3 plots, but they'll actually kind of intersect, and 2 plots will like swap at one point over throughout there. Because Nate's with Zari for like the first 2/3 of the episode, and then it kind of switches to Ray, because of course Ray is possessed by an Neron, and it's kind of there's a lot of Evil Dead referencing on here actually early on, where he's like, that's not groovy, and it's kind of treating like a comedy thing where his hands do, try to kill people, and he's trying to
and the
control
deal
it.
is, if you're possessed but you're fighting it, if the possessed part of you, in this case the hand, can kill a loved one, it will take over you for good.
So Gary thinks he's in danger, and Ray has to say,
Ray's like,
I like you, Gary, but
I was thinking it.
Yeah. And then Gary gets really upset, to the point where he ends up betraying Ray.
Betraying them.
He gets his nipple back in a box.
I love, as soon as Neron says, I can make you whole again, I'm like, oh my god, they're going to give him the nipple. That's what he's thinking about. Because of course he would be so literal.
Of course, yes. So yeah, a lot of this Ray stuff was great. When he hugs Nate and he's like sort of like grabbing his neck, and he's like, "Oh, I'm just trying to give you a massage. That's all."
Yeah. Oh man, this stuff was killing me.
Actually, what was the thing even before that, when Nate goes to hug him and Ray kind of tries to not do it because of his hand. Nate's like, "What's this lame ass hug?" And he like grabs him. Yeah. So no, this was good.
I love those two.
So Ray's like beating the shit out of Nate, and his head's still him, and he's like, "Hey Nate, it's not me that's doing this. It's
my one problem here is Nate, as he rightly should, steals up.
Yes.
And then 2 punches later, he's unconscious anyway. What?
That show's always nerfed their abilities, though.
Yeah, but this is to the highest order. At least usually it takes force beyond Ray's punch.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
Yeah, but it's demonic punch. It's not just Ray punching.
Fine.
There's magical things going on. And he's like, "No, I trust you, Ray. You can fight it." And Ray's got a knife, and he's like, "No, you can fight it. You won't stab me, bro." And that's
yeah,
oddly sweet. It's an oddly sweet scene.
That is, and then Ray gives himself over. He's like, "Look," because Neron's already pointed out with I think it was with Gary that if a demon makes a deal with you, then it has to stick by it. It can't break its deals. So Ray says, "Okay, no, I'll make you a deal. You can have my body willingly. I'll give up, but you got to spare Nate." And he does.
And then Constantine tries to fight Ray Neron for calling him that, and Gary's what does him in. It's a shame. Yeah. So that's kind of what the main plot does. But
Gary, the great betrayer.
Yeah, there's a subplot where Sarah is trying to read a book for book club with Ava and Mona, and Joe, this was like maybe the most relatable any character's ever been on this show, where she keeps trying to start the book and then she keeps getting interrupted, and then I'm like, yes, this was me in high school. Every time I had to read a book for high school, I was like, page 1, yes, page 1, and then she's like, is this an audiobook? And then she's listening to the audiobook, and she's like, I can go at double speed. And I'm like, yeah, I can still make sense of this.
I'm with her. I've been there.
I'm like, oh, I relate to this so much. And then she comes out, and then the joke is that Ava didn't read the book either. This is more Mona's thing. She just kind of shows up and gets drunk.
But Sarah naturally loved the book in the end.
Yes. But
and then it comes into play in the other bit because Gary is the doormat.
Yes, but the subplot that is worth talking about is that Charlie wants to take Mick to Romanticon 2019 because they're offering $20,000 if
Rebecca Silver.
There you go, Rebecca Silver. If she appears, his pen name.
I'm doing good on the names this week.
Apparently, you are, and they're like, okay, I'll pretend to be Rebecca Silver, and you're there to be my bodyguard.
You can coach me on the answers.
And coach you on the answers. But Mona shows up, and Mona doesn't know that it's really Mick, right? So she's like answering this, like, "You are fraud. You don't know these answers."
She just thinks that they're pulling a bit of a joke on everyone.
Yeah, and then Mick like eventually grabs the mic and like starts talking about sensitivity and love, and Mona's like, "Oh my God, you're Rebecca Silver. I would recognize that wisdom anywhere."
I think my favorite moment of this plot, as good as all of this is the minute where Mona, they're at the book club and Mona finds out that Rebecca Silver's identity is going to be revealed, and she's so excited, and Sarah and Ava are there just like, oh, have fun with that. You have to let her know how it goes.
I believe the exact line was, "Take lots of pictures."
Yeah. Just the shit-eating grin on both of their faces is glorious.
The best part of this, though, is it means next episode, Mona's going to be fangirling around Mick constantly.
Oh, yeah, she is.
And Mick, you know, he sends letters back to his fans. He answers fan mail.
He's never going to hear the end of this.
No, he's a sensitive soul.
Oh, man. Mick's great.
I love the subtle detail. There was a couple of people in the crowd that were cosplaying as the three-breasted alien warrior chick, whatever her name was.
Yeah. Damn it, I'm not got this one. I'm pretty sure it began with a G. But damn it.
It's okay. This is such a weird subplot for Mick, but you know what? It's working for me.
Yeah,
it's working for me. It's fine.
It's funny. It's character beats. It's natural at this stage because this has been a long time going now. This idea of him being a writer and
since last season, yeah.
It's not like 2 or 3 times either. It's been consistently a thing. So now it feels earned to get to this stage. It doesn't feel like they've just thrown it out.
Don't get me wrong. If you actually like, they've kind of implied that he's released like 4 or 5 books, which is probably too many in the time frame. But other than that,
yeah, sure.
There's some logistics here. I know he's time traveling, but you assume that when we're watching the show, we're going through time with them from their perspective. So
give or take, yeah. No, I agree. Maybe he's actually a faster writer because I mean he's a slow typer. We've seen that, but he might be a fast writer.
Yes.
I mean, he knocked up a letter for Zari pretty quickly last week.
Yes, it was erotic but sensitive.
Yes.
So surprise, Legends was good. And do you know what I liked about Legends is that actually the stuff with Mick and Nate, it's not Mick, sorry, Ray and Nate at the end, was actually kind of dramatic. Because this show, of course, we normally like for being fun, and it was fun pretty much through and through until the ending where it got actually dramatic. And even like, you know, when the others come back and Sarah has like, "Hey guys, I got bad news. Neron's got Ray." It felt very like someone's died. It feels really, you know, because you know when Nora wakes up, she's like, "Hey, it's got Ray. You have to go help him." Like.
And Constantine immediately rushes off.
Yeah, if you know what, the show to a point was hitting a degree here where I'm like, okay, I actually kind of care if something bad happens here.
Yeah, and I think it was because Ray is so innocent, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he's the one that's corrupted, and you know, it hurts a little bit.
Yeah, and Nora gets a badge from Ava. She's now an official ranking member of the Time Bureau. So she's going to go and help fight Neron. And it feels like the stakes have been raised a little bit, which is kind of nice in a show where, for as much as I love it, there's very little stakes most of the time, if ever.
Yeah, it's lighthearted and fun, but
yeah,
usually that's okay.
But they've put one of my characters in danger, and well, I think he's going to be fine. Like I don't think they're going to kill off Ray.
The only thing that concerns me is they could.
Hmm?
They've been willing to rotate this cast pretty consistently. Usually it's the dead weight they're cutting, admittedly.
Yeah.
So
we'll see.
But, yeah.
Also, we're going to get a dragon soon, because the egg turned out to be a dragon egg.
Yeah, it did.
And I feel like they're only telling us that because we're going to actually get the dragon.
I would hope so.
Well,
please let the dragon just be a Bebo.
The dragon's not going to be a Bebo. I can totally see them somehow working Bebo into the finale again, though.
Yeah, I know. One of the writers did talk about how they talk about it a lot, Bebo, and they don't want to overdo it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to have Bebo all the time because otherwise it might lose its specialness. But they appreciate that Bebo is the mascot.
Yes. But there's been almost no Bebo this whole season, so I feel like if you whip him out in the finale, it doesn't feel like we've had too much.
Yeah.
You know, it's been a while.
Yeah. We can't have many episodes left, though, right? What was this?
This was 13. We got 3 left.
Oh, is that it?
So we get 3 of this left, 3 of Supergirl, 2 of Flash and Arrow. I know.
That sucks. I mean, it does for Legends. The others I'm fine with them finishing soon.
So that's Legends. Which I guess takes us out of the Flash, which I don't actually have up because I thought I didn't think I would need it yet. For some reason.
Just for shame.
I know.
This was another bullshit episode. Surprise, surprise.
I don't know. I mean, were you really upset with this weird evil Birds of Prey that we got from B Pun Lady, who's not been here for a while? That was a weird blast from the past because
I didn't recognize her. I mean, I was drunk at first, but I didn't recognize her until they were like, "Hey, are those bees?" And she's like, "Yeah, the bees are back."
She was in season 3 of The Flash, and then had an episode in season 4 of Arrow. So that was 3 seasons ago. We last saw her. Unless I'm forgetting something, but I think that was the last time I saw her.
Last time I remember seeing her.
Because she made the person out of the bees, but it was just a guy in a suit.
Oh, it was terrible.
Yeah, it was really weird. Yeah. But she's here, Weather Witch from earlier in the season, and Ragdoll.
Yeah.
And it turns out Nora's the one who's assembled them because she wants to steal tech in the hopes of battling Cicada 2. Or
Cicada.
As
much better.
Ralph calls her at one point.
Ralph, he seems primed to be taking over the Cisco when Cisco leaves.
Yeah, it feels like Cisco's going and Ralph's sticking around and kind of taking even though he can't do the science.
No, but in the naming department, because someone's got to take on that.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, also I did laugh at one point because when they realised Ragdoll was involved, Iris had a line where she says, he's lucky I don't throw him off a roof.
And I went, oh, don't remind me, Iris.
No, that made me laugh. I was like, yes.
That made me drink in memory.
Best moment of the season. Iris diving over the...
Ideally, a spit take then. Not intentionally. You caught me off guard when you said best moment of the season.
It probably is. Either that or that great time loop episode where they kept getting stabbed. Like someone different kept getting stabbed. That was good.
Less of a moment though, isn't it? And more of a thematic reoccurrence.
That's true. This episode's called Gone Rogue, by the way. It's season 5, episode 20. So
is that because they're shit rogues?
Yes, they're the young rogues or some such. So they're looking into capturing Nora. I'm kind of glad though. By the end of the episode, we've kind of dealt with it, and like Nora's not evil now. She wasn't planning on killing anyone. She was just getting the tech to stop.
We didn't really need to bother with the negative Speed Force at all. That's
true. Yeah, it had. I mean, unless they somehow use it later because she knows how to do it.
Sure, but as of right now, I was like, well, that was a waste.
And Iris and Barry have some more fights, and Barry finds out that Iris only came and patched things up because Thawne suggested it. So he's like, wait, is everyone in my life taking advice from Thawne? What's happening? And
Iris is like, he's a changed man, Barry. You didn't see him.
Oh dear. But I mean, yeah. So you get the bunch of villains. They turn on her, of course. There's a weird bit where Joe and Iris are disguised as the guards, so they've always been there in the big final fight scene, and they get up and the
Barry's there as well, isn't he? Disguised as well.
Yeah, he's got like the face changer though. He's got the tech thing.
Oh yeah, he's right.
Iris and Joe have just got like big sunglasses and hats on.
I think I was drunk at this point and assumed they all had the changer tech on.
Maybe they did, but once they took it off though, they had these big like, visor type sunglasses and black hats on.
I'll take your word for it.
It was a whole thing. But Nora thought it was a good idea to assemble a team of 3 villains and thought she could deal with them after the fact. Turns out she was wrong. What a shock.
They immediately betrayed her.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
But Barry apologizes to her and says he was wrong, and they have a bit of a heart-to-heart, and she's back on Team Flash. They're going to stop Cicada together.
Job's a good one.
Yeah,
Problem
it's
solved.
very nice. Uh, so somehow Chris Klein is back as Cicada. Now I don't think. I mean, I think he's just inside her head.
I think so. Yeah.
This is a Dexter type thing where she's like sitting there like singing to herself or just repeating this rhyme over and over again, and he like appears behind her and like says it along with her. It's obviously something he said to her as a kid.
It's terrible.
So we're going to
terrible. When I heard his voice, I went, "Oh no!"
We're going to get Ghost Cicada over her shoulder now for the last couple of episodes, and let's be honest, this is going to make the last 2 episodes much better than they were going to be.
So we've got She-Cada and Dead-Cada.
She-Cada and Dead-Cada
versus not evil anymore Nora.
Yes.
Not negative Nora, but she's not positive either. She's just not negative. It's just this is a mess.
Oh dear. The whole middle of the episode is they actually have to steal a bit of tech from Star Labs, so we have a whole thing where they kidnap Cisco and Sherlock. And to their credit, I did appreciate that Cisco pointed out that he's been kidnapped to build things before and just kind of laughed in their faces. And then Nora pretended to be Reverse Flash for a second. It was like shaking her hand and is like,
and he went, "Oh, okay."
I almost feel like she has to apologize to him personally next episode because
that was pretty. Does she know about that with him though?
I think she does. She must. That was like such a direct reference.
Yeah. See, I assume so, but I don't know if that's just her being an evil bitch when she's being all negative. But if she does know, which assuming she does, yeah, that was a dick move because that's like his biggest trauma.
Yeah, that was a big one. And then Sherlock actually brings up that Cisco probably doesn't want to be a meta anymore and doesn't want to be Vibe. So again, teasing the fact that he's probably.
I don't remember that part.
At the end of the season, yeah, he does. He's like, "Oh, okay. I've put it together." As blah, 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 blah. And,
I think the accent gets tuned out by the alcohol.
I think that's fair.
It just hears the accent at my drunken brain, hears that and assumes it's just gibberish and goes, "Yeah, I don't listen to
that." Sherlock, have you ever get it right? Sherlock, not Sherlock. He's on a whole rant. I feel like in the finale, someone's finally going to say it right to him, and he's going to be all.
And that's when he dies.
Impressed. That's when he probably dies.
He'll jump in front of a bullet for them because they said his name right.
You said my name
he'll
right?
jump in front of a bullet and then they'll say it, and it'll be like, "Oh, you finally got it."
Oh god.
That's how this thing goes, right?
I'm yawning. This is a good sign for this episode. Yeah, I mean that was pretty much it. Most of it was the mini rogues and Barry whining about being mad at Nora and then regretting that he was mad at Nora, and Barry's arcs in every episode for the last like 3 years have been very tedious, and I feel like
we should have written him off the show and stuck with Wally.
Yeah, that feels like a very possible outcome. But then they would just rate Wally as badly, though, right?
Like... They would, but at least it would have been fresh with Wally. It wouldn't have. We get another like season or 2 out of it before we're sick of it. I don't know.
Yep. Oh well. I guess that's the Flash. I guess that. Unless I'm forgetting something particularly interesting about it, I don't think I am.
Did I have any intricate notes on the Flash?
I doubt you did. I think you said something like the bee pun lady's back or something.
Yeah,
like that.
bee pun lady's back, and I put every meta must die when Chris Klein showed up at the end. That was it.
Yeah, so I knew Bee Lady was coming back because Connor drunkenly messaged me Bee Lady's back before I watched the episode.
No great insights on this one. Well, it's your own fault falling asleep when we should have watched it.
I regret nothing. I regret absolutely nothing. Yeah, I guess that's the Flash. Which actually brings an end to all the reviews. This wraps up
Sweet.
the show. Which means we'll pick what our favourite of the week was.
So is it Doom Patrol or Legends, is the question?
It's actually a tougher week to pick, because I think Legends was pretty great this week.
It was, but Doom Patrol had some good character beats.
It did. Curious and curiouser.
I am going to go with Legends, just because the Nate and Zari stuff and the Nate and Ray stuff was top form. But Doom Patrol was excellent.
Yeah, I think I will go with Legends as well this week. Although Doom Patrol was still excellent. And it's interesting though, because we have 3 more Legends. I think we have 4 more Doom Patrols. So they're both going to be fighting out now in their sort of end games of the season. So it'll be interesting to see.
Should be when they're at their strongest,
theoretically. So it'll be interesting to see how next week and the next few weeks fare. So curious, but Aspen Television for the Multiverse. Of course, if you don't know this, we also do comics for the Multiverse, which is DC Comics. We, both of us plus Matt, every week talk about the DC books that come out. Just this week we talked about Deceased and Year of the Villain and Batman and Justice League and Young Justice, among others. So you can check out that if you would so wish. You can, of course, like and subscribe. If you want to give us a rating on iTunes and like a little review, it helps out with iTunes promoting us and that kind of thing. So go over there and do that if that's where you're listening to us. Let us know in the comments what you thought of the shows this week. If you want to support us financially, you can do that over at Patreon at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV. You can do that for as little as $1 per month. So you can go have a look and see if anything there tickles your fancy. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you.
Just to let people know, in case obviously this is all the DC shows that we cover. But next week, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is back.
Oh yes,
and we are big fans of that show.
We will
be covering that. Of course, it won't be on this podcast, but it will be being covered, and we're excited to talk about that one.
Yeah, we are. That's coming back next week. You're right.
But I figure there's a lot of crossover.
Yeah, but that's us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching DC TV shows, guys, and superheroes and all that nonsense. And remember that sometimes we screw things up for the better.